everyone, and welcome back to my channel. Today I wanted to make a special video about cab over engine trucks customization. But first of all, I wanted to review these two models of Hot Wheels. I will start by saying that you don't see too many truck models on both Matchbox and Hot Wheels main lines. And that is because they have to scale them down more than a 1:64 car. You can see here we have this VW Golf, and it is a very small car anyhow. And you can see that this MIG rig, which is the red cab over engine truck, is smaller than the Golf, and that is not reasonable. And this brings me to another problem, and it is the fact that the cab of each truck is very small, and therefore you have a lack of details. So today I'm going to show you a little trick on how to create your own truck from a regular pickup truck, and it will give your truck the appearance of a larger model. So basically all you have to do is to find a nice truck like this one, which is a very let's say cheap looking model. The reason I'm using these cheap models is because of my injury. I don't want to sacrifice too much of my personal collection of Hot Wheels and Matchbox cars, so I don't mind using a cheaper model just to show you the technique. Okay, so I'm starting by taking the base off, and then I will start to mark the place where I want the two pieces to be joined together. I need to cut the body and then place the cab literally over the engine. I highly recommend you to use Google for some truck images, because there are so many models and you can get many ideas only by searching on Google. I have to be clear that I wasn't too obligated to these markings. I just wanted to see where I need to take off some material. And another thing is that you have to be very correct, and you have to decide very carefully where to cut this model, because you can only cut it once and you can't do any mistakes. Another thing, it is not must, but I highly recommend you to get yourself a jeweler saw, because it is the most precise tool for this job. And another thing is that it is a tool that allows you to lose the least amount of material from the body. So now back to our little project. You can see that I'm cutting the body right in the door line, and most of this work is going to be made off camera because I don't want to lose my focus on what I'm doing right now. So here it is. You can see we have two parts of this body, and I was pretty accurate when I had this cutting process. And now it is the most important part, because I have to see where I want to take off some material from the doors, and I will show you in a moment. Here it is. I've already taken the paint off, and now you can see that I've made a little cutting here, and now I have to join these pieces together. I've decided I will cut here and make a little round edge on each fender. After marking the fenders, I'm going to cut this front end in two pieces, and you will see that it will give this truck a wider appearance. After cutting the front end, I'm going to join the pieces together with some epoxy glue, and you can see that these pieces are combining nicely together. So here is one piece. You can see here it is held by tiny bit of super glue drop, and after I'll see that everything is in place, I will add the epoxy in order to make this part a bulletproof piece. At this point, you will want to create a new short nose engine cover for your cab over engine truck, and you can use various materials. One of them is this metal plate, and the reason I'm using this metal plate is because I don't want to fill the entire piece with epoxy, and it will save me from doing that. So basically I'm creating a frame which is going to be the primary shape of this engine cover, and after it will be seated in place, I will add some epoxy just to give it the right looks. Now you may ask yourself, why didn't I use the original engine hood for this truck? And that is because it is a very different hood right now. It is shorter and it angles different than the original hood of the original truck. So it is going to be a waste of time to try and fit the original engine hood right now. Now it is a very obvious part of this project, and it is filling the entire front end with epoxy glue. After it will cure up, and it will take a few hours, I'm going to grind the front end and give it the right shape of a real truck. And now you can see it is a very ugly front end, and I have to shape it with my sandpaper. I've waited a few hours until this epoxy glue cured up properly. This is going to be a very long task of making the front end of this truck to look real. So I will see you in few hours. Okay, so after a few hours of filing and sanding and grinding, here is the truck's cabin, and you can see that I'm trying to follow the door lines and give this truck special shape, and it took me a few hours to get to this point. I have to tell you that if you're very skilled, you can use Dremel, and then you can save yourself some time. But if you are not willing to make any mistake, do it in the old-fashioned way. Now I'm using my Dremel in order to carve some door lines. It is a very nerve-wracking process because I don't want to make any mistakes right now. If you remember, I had to cut the front end in two pieces, and then there was a little gap on each side of the grill, so I had to fill the front in some epoxy glue, and now I'm just making some adjustments and see that the grill is well seated in place. I've sprayed the entire cabin with some black color in order to see defects or corrections that I need to make sure that will not be visible at the final paint. And I think that everything is okay right now, so I'm going to proceed to the next step, and that is to create a scratch build back end for this truck. I found this plastic base from another vehicle, and I think it will be okay for this tow truck that I'm going to create. From this moment on, I'm not going to show you anything because it is something that I've showed you on some previous builds. And now let me show you the truck itself. And here it is after creating a back end made of scratch, and it is a tow truck as you see right now. Let me just place this oil leaking pickup truck on the lift and I will show you the tow truck itself. As you see, I've decided to go with this green and yellow paint scheme, and I've also added this light on the roof. At the back you can see it is a tow truck and the entire piece was made from scratch. Now, after seeing this new truck, let me show you another one that I have, and it was made from this casting. It is Ford, I believe, and it is this orange truck that I've made from this casting. It is the same method of cutting the body and placing the cab over the engine, and the overall outcome is very impressive, and it is one of my most favorite trucks on my collection. Mostly because it is very detailed. Now let me show you a contest winner, and you've probably seen this before, but for all the new guys here that don't want to scroll hundreds of videos down this page, here is my special tow truck, and you can see it was made from this welly pickup truck. So now you can see both tow trucks together and you can see the difference. One of them is a retro tow truck and the other one is more relaxed style tow truck. Now let me show you another one which is more radical, and it is the sperm whale. And here it is, the sperm whale, and the reason I'm calling it a sperm whale is because it is, well, it looks like a whale and it is a very big tow truck, and it is the biggest on my collection. And now I will show you the car and as you see, it is Corvette made by Welly, and the cabin itself was taken from 1957 Chevy Bel Air, and the back end, of course, is scratch built. So you can say that we have another way to create a cab over engine truck because it was made from two different cars. Another thing which I want you to tell me is if this video was helpful for you today. And my final tip for you guys is to pick the right car for this kind of project. And eventually you will want to have your car to appear like it is bigger in scale. So choose carefully the right pickup truck on which you will want to create this creation. So in the meantime, take care, and I will see you soon on my next project. Bye bye.